Hello everybody, Ben Woodruff here. In this video, we're going to be visiting Chaco Canyon, New Mexico and touring around Pueblo Bonito. Now this is kind of a rush job because actually I've been to Chaco Canyon several times, but I haven't been for years. And I'm going this November with some really good equipment and a good crew to really kind of capture. So be watching for a really epic video coming up in the coming months. But I have a lot of good footage that I really have never used from my past trips there. And so I wanted to make people more aware of Chaco Canyon. There's not a lot of good videos out there about this. There's a lot of good archaeological presentations. Like if you look up Archaeology Cafe on YouTube, some great presentations by some amazing experts on Chaco Canyon. But Chaco Canyon in and of itself, a lot of these videos I make, when I go to some of these sites, I don't mention the name, and that's to kind of try to reduce the number of people visiting. Chaco Canyon, it is a pilgrimage to get out there. It is in the middle of nowhere, and there's like 27 miles of dirt road that's often really pretty rough. And then once you hit the national park, then it's paved. But to get to it, you're crossing rivers and washes and stuff, and there's no services anywhere nearby at all. There's nothing. So it takes a lot of work to get out there, and it's kind of interesting too. I've never seen kids there. One time I saw a Native American family that had some kids, but other than that, I've never seen kids because it's such a long journey above and beyond anything else. It's the kind of journey that, unless you have kids who are really into this kind of thing, I don't recommend taking them on because they will languish on the long drive. But Chaco Canyon, what is it? Well, I'm not going to go into too much detail because I just kind of want to tour you around Pueblo Bonito. But Chaco Canyon had habitation for thousands of years, all the way back to the Ice Age. There's even stuff there. But there was a period of flourishing from about 900 AD to about 1150 AD, so almost 300 years there. Now, the ancestral Puebloan people of the American Southwest are like from 300 BC to 1600 AD. So Chaco was this brief, strange flourish. We know they had huge influences from Mexico. We know that they imported a lot of exotic goods, including cacao beans, which is chocolate. They imported copper bells from Puerto Vallarta, and they even imported live macaws, which is pretty crazy. They had huge structures with these massive great houses that had hundreds and hundreds of rooms. Some of these things were, 4 or 5 stories tall. And these massive communities. There's a lot of debate on how many people did live there or if these were just ceremonial centers that people would come to. But we know that Chaco had great power and was importing things from as far away as Mexico. So in this video, we're just going to tour around one. We're going to go to Pueblo Bonito. So just so you know, if you're going to Chaco Canyon, there's no shade anywhere to speak of. There's no trees. Like there's trees down in the wash, but you don't go into the wash. So when you're camping, don't go in the summer. You will die of heat and bugs eating you. Even the birds, the songbirds, when you go over to the outhouse, I would just sit in the shade behind the outhouse and wait for night every day when I went in the summertime. But the little songbirds, if you would drink from the water fountain, they would come over and drink out because it was so hot and so desiccating. But the campsites are open. You can bring an RV, you can bring a tent, you can bring whatever, but it's just all bare and open. I've been there when it's been a bajillion degrees. I've been there in torrential wind and torrential rain. When the rain comes in, those monsoon rains are just so beautiful, but boy, they will wash you out. So it's a crazy place to go. There's a lot of wildlife in the area. Oddly, though it's in the middle of the desert, there's elk. There's a big elk herd that roams around the park. When you go to Pueblo Bonito, there's a raven that will visit you there. He's always waiting there, and he loves snacks, but he's just waiting there, and I do a perfect raven call, so I always call to him, and he calls back, but he's always waiting right there. There's a flock of turkey vultures, and I've got great photos of them in the morning putting their wings out, sunning themselves, and it's just epic to see them there. And I'll show you later on in the video where when I came out of Pueblo Bonito, there was that whole flock of vultures just circling right above a great kiva. So it's a really cool place. So this is not a video to give too much education. This video, I'm just going to be walking you through the ruins and kind of doing a voiceover, talking about it so you can get an idea of what this place is like, and to kind of whet your palate to get you excited for the epic video we're going to be producing that we're going to record this upcoming November. So let's go ahead and we're going to take a look at Pueblo Bonito, which is just one great house in Chaco Canyon, New Mexico. So I'm playing some flute music. This is being played on a Native American flute that I made myself. And I hope that that's a little better to have that playing in the background than just hear me talking with big old gaps. This is where we're visiting. This is Pueblo Bonito. It's the most famous and most excavated of the Chacoan great houses. This is the view from above. This is a few mile hike to get to this spot. This is what's in all of the documentaries. You'll have somebody sitting there with Pueblo Bonito behind. It's a really cool little hike with some fun scrambles. But when you're on the ground from the parking lot, going to visit Pueblo Bonito, it seems tiny. You're like, what is this? And when you get up to it, it's so big and so broad, you can't really do justice to it. This is the view on the east side. And even though it's mostly collapsed, you can see just how elaborate the masonry is. Now inside, there's amazing light play. It's a photographer's dream come true. The light and shadow, there's so many opportunities when you can go in these halls, but there's so much light coming in. But the truth is, when these structures were in use, these were walled in. This was a very dark room. Some windows, but a lot of dark rooms. They would have had to have used tallow lamps to see around. Well, let's go ahead and we're gonna go inside. This is not the historical entrance, but this is the entrance into Pueblo Bonito today. Now, when you look on your left as you first come in, this is the only room that you can go in that has a roof over it. Now, we got stuck here during a rainstorm one year, and I brought mugs, ceremonial cacao mugs that I had made, very similar to many of the cacao mugs that have been unearthed at this site. So we sat out the rainstorm and enjoyed drinking ceremonial ritual cacao, just as the ancient people did in this site. Now we're going through a T-door. T-doors such as this are originated at Chaco Canyon. Then they spread out throughout the southwestern region and northwestern Mexico. These doors, if you watch, I will link to a video talking about T-doors. There's much more to them. They're not just a practical thing. They're very much a status or a symbol or a way of conveying some sort of an allegiance to someone or something. We're going to go through these hallways now, and you will see a few T-doors. You can see those beams, and you have to understand that these were 2, 3, 4, 5-story tall rooms, and there were beams that were brought from forests. They have used dendrochronology and DNA to test and found that those beams were from trees cut about 50 miles away, and they were hauled here. And then they made floors and ceilings and floors and ceilings that went up and up and up. But every one of those beams, and they had to crisscross and go layers up, every single one of these had to be hauled on foot from 50 miles away. It's incredible. So Mano Matate in the center of the room there. These doorways always hurt my back. I can literally feel my back cracking every time, especially this here. I have to kick my front leg out in order to keep the shot consistent. Now we're going to come up and look out over the Great Plaza. And you can't even see the ruins on the other side. It's so big. There's a kiva here on your right. We're going to talk about kivas and great kivas in a few minutes. can see some rubble back there. We'll talk about that later, where the cliff face fell down and smashed in part of the ruins. Now, these kivas are, some of them are large, some of them are small, but there's a difference between a large kiva and a great kiva. They're structurally built very differently. Now, this site has been wonderfully excavated and is still maintained, but still, as you come along here, you have plants growing down in the bottom and tumbleweed that's blown in. But let's see what it looks like to go into one of these kivas. Were they intact? This is at a different site. This is what an intact kiva looks like. You go underground. There's columns made out of adobe that hold up posts that wrap all the way around. This was a sacred site. We don't know fully how these ritual sites were used, but this is a regular kiva. And again, that's what we're looking here. These are regular kivas, these round structures. So you would have been able to walk over the top of them and climb a ladder to go down inside. Now, it's amazing to think these little rooms I'm going through look like this. These were 3, 4, 5 stories tall in the back here. And now they're just, you can, again, this is what this site looked like when it was in use. It was enormous. You can imagine how many people would be here. But these little rooms that I'm going through right now, again, these rooms were 3, 4, 5 stories tall. Each room is numbered, and we've found incredible artifacts that have been cataloged here. Just absolutely incredible things. Many trade items brought up from Mexico. Now here we're going around the backside, and the backside is pretty uniform. It's got a gentle curve to it, but it's just a beautiful mason wall. And you can see some of the posts sticking out from up above. And again, these colors, they didn't catch it very well. I just shot this with a GoPro. But I mean, this is just as good as people who take art tours of Italy, just to see the beautiful adobe in the sun. I mean, the level of craftsmanship on this structure is unreal. This is a spot where you can get out and kind of look over. And if you look, you can see the rubble right down in front where the cliff face fell off and knocked over part of the backside of it. Throughout the Southwest, there's some pretty sloppy masonry, but the craftsmanship and masonry at Chaco Canyon is unparalleled. Now, all of these walls, you can see a raven up there saying hi to me. All of these walls also have a foundation that goes down like 6 feet under all of these walls. It's absolutely incredible. It's one of the things how you know it's a Chacoan site or related to Chaco Canyon is if it has that deeply built foundation. Right there you can see what's left of another T-door right there, another T-door aperture. A very important symbol for these people. And we're going to take a look in here. This is a subterranean room with the beams still intact. You can see some of that adobe and masonry. I just stuck my camera in there through the bars so you could get a good view of it. Now we're going out onto the Great Plaza, which again, you can't see the other side of it. It's so big, this site again. Now this is a great kiva, and I want you to have a sense of what a great kiva looks like. So we're going to compare this to an intact great kiva at Aztec, New Mexico. This is a little less than 100 miles away. So this is Aztec, New Mexico. The great kiva we just looked at Chaco would have looked like this in practice. This is an enormous ritual and ceremonial space that can hold hundreds of people. I'm going to go back there in November and I want to film it with a fisheye lens because you simply cannot fathom just how big this place is. In the center of the room, there's a hearth to have a fire, and there's a hole straight out of the top for that smoke to go up through. You can see all the beams, and again, this is the desert where there's not much timber. And again, hauling timber in from so far away. Timber was worth more than gold. Now you notice all those little windows for people looking from the outside, again, have that T aperture, that T shape that we know is significant to these people. So again, here is another great kiva, the remnants here, and the footage I just showed you from Aztec, New Mexico is what it would have looked like. We're going to go back in through some of these rooms. And again, as we're going through all of these, remember there's a lot of light coming in. It seems very warm and welcoming and inviting, but you know, these would have been dark passageways and, you know, multiple stories tall with some windows. But again, people would have had to have been using tallow lamps to see their way through these areas. Like I said, now today with the light play, it's a photographer's dream come true. This wasn't on a very good day, but the photographers capture some incredibly beautiful, truly awe-inspiring shots in these hallways. And again, all of those timbers that remain, all of those timbers were hauled from 50 miles away on foot. You can see those. Think how much work that would take. So then think about what kind of power had to be held by this community in order to either encourage, entice, or enforce people to go that far and bring those kind of goods and haul them back 50 miles on foot. Now, each of these doorways, I've been told by a site archaeologist that these rooms go down about a foot further than they did in ancient times, that they made that as a way so when you step over that you can get a better step without tripping over. So that's why there's kind of like a little lip on each of these. There's a T-door. And as we exit out, again, out of a non-historic entryway, this is not the normal way people went in and out of this. But again, you can see these walls on the front. They're crumbling. These would have been much taller and would have been a very imposing and very impressive sight to anybody walking up to it. Well, I hope you enjoyed a quick whirlwind tour seeing around Pueblo Bonito at Chaco Canyon. Again, Chaco is such a big subject. It's hard to do it justice, especially in one little video. So again, I'm going in November and I'm going to do a much better job documenting not only Pueblo Bonito, which you just saw, but also many of the other sites. There's countless ruins there and tons of great house communities with hundreds of rooms. So I will do my best in the coming months to document that and use that to produce several more videos and give you a chance to go there. Again, if you ever want to visit Chaco Canyon, please do your research. There's no gas stations anywhere near it. There's no hotels to stay at. There's nothing for a bajillion miles. So you got to plan your trip well and take everything with you. But I think it's well worth it. Do not go in the summer, and I don't recommend going in the winter. Spring or fall, it's where it's at. And half the time that I've been there, even in the late spring, I've gotten snowed on. It's been like kind of nice and hot, nice kind of spring warmth, and then it snows. But you never know what you're going to get there. But it's an incredible sight and very much worth visiting. So I hope that will whet your appetite and encourage you to come back and see the videos. But I recommend you go check it out yourself if you get a chance. And always remember that life is a gift. So never stop learning and never stop exploring. We'll see you next time.